Hello there. Welcome to Devlog 001. This is the very first one for a game I'm doing called A Beaver's Tale. So I guess the point of this, like the intention of this devlog is to, first of all, kind of do as minimal amount of editing as possible because I'm also trying to develop a game, so that takes a lot of time. But I also want to share like what I'm doing and kind of chronicle how this is going. Maybe some things that do work, some things that don't work. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe the first thing to kind of talk about that's kind of cool is like this tree thing that I've been working on. It's a bit of a different style, right? So I'm not actually using any alphas or textures with alpha blending in it. It's actually all polygon modeled. And partially I'm trying to hit the style of the game. And the other thing that's kind of cool is that you actually get shadows, right? So it's not something you would normally get, but maybe I'll just jump into that and show you how that works. It's still a work in progress, and I mean the tree looks a little bit sparse. But if I jump over here and click on my tree, and kind of dig into this and see how it works. So the tree itself has like one main trunk object and a bunch of these leaves. And you'll notice that there's only 3 draw calls. So it's pretty good. Like it's not too heavy. The whole tree is about 20,000 triangles. So I think my intention is that there might not be more than like 5 on screen at a time. If you see like when I jump in the level here, you're going to see like the tree occupies like a pretty good amount of space. So it's like I don't think you would have more than 5 in the visible area. I'm doing like an isometric camera for this game, so it's like a point and click RPG, right? So I'm having some issues with it. I guess the first thing is that like when you navigate off screen, it does this recentering thing, which is fine, but it kind of gets screwed up when you zoom. One of the things I want to have in the game is like if the player wants to zoom, they can zoom in and see the animations or the interactions a little bit better. And then I've got the right click to kind of drag around. But right now, if you right click and kind of drag to the top of the screen, it will automatically resize and recenter, which takes a minute because right now I'm using the like a bunch of tweens. So let me show you that. We jump into scripts and we go to camera. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, so there's a cam tween, and basically what it's going to do is going to reset the H offset and the V offset on the camera, as well as like reset the zoom. So these are a bunch of things working with an orthogonal camera, right? Like you can see the camera here, but like if you change the H offset, it just like slides it without actually shifting the position of the camera, which is kind of useful for what I'm doing. And then the size is just like kind of like the zoom, basically. It's like how big is that orthogonal projection. I haven't fully landed on it like 100% if I'm going to do the orthogonal camera. The problem with the perspective camera, whenever you have a point and click game, I don't even know if this will work because of all the scripts, but yeah, maybe that's a little better. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I can't do the like slide technique. So if he goes off screen, no, actually that does work. So there is H offset and V offset, but there's no size, right? So if I try to scroll here, I can't get any zoom, which I haven't quite figured out how to get around. I want there to be a zoom, and actually now that I mess with this, I kind of like this perspective camera a lot better. The other issue I was having was like with the water, and you can see he like swims around here, which is really cool. But like in the perspective camera, you can actually see the reflections off the water, which is awesome. And let's see if we can come down to maybe a location where you can see the reflections even better, because the shader is pretty awesome. I'm going to link the tutorial below for the water shader. I think it was Stay at Home Dev did it, and it's like absolutely fantastic. Like that shader is so cool. I can show you how I like kind of did the the area 3Ds and all that stuff, but like the angle that you get from the camera, you're not actually seeing, you know, how good it looks. So maybe let me mess with this a little bit. I think maybe the problem is that the light right now is almost directly overhead. Let me try to mess with that a bit. So if I do something like this, maybe a steeper angle. I just want to really show off this shader because like it looks good and it looks better in the editor than it does in the game. So maybe I'll mess with the other thing about a perspective camera. It's like, and this is the problem I'm having. Now that I think about it, like you can never walk to like the top of the screen. Like you just can't do it. Because it's going to take so long. And I have an algorithm built in, like it doesn't allow you to point and click too far away because there's some reasons for that. I don't know if it's good or bad, but like if the point and click gets messed up, he might just end up walking forever somewhere, which is not good. But like even now, like you look how far I had to walk away from the camera in order to actually, you know, get to the edge of the screen. And like right now he's so far in the background that it just like it takes forever to walk anywhere. There is going to be a game mechanic for actually increasing like his walking speed, and it's going to be like he can tap maple syrup from the trees and like store it in a little maple syrup progress bar, and then he can use it to like run around faster, which I think is funny. But yeah, so like I love the look of the perspective camera, but it's just not doing it for me in terms of like the depth of field and like all these glitchy little things. Like he can't get to the edge of the screen properly. So there's a bunch of weird nonsense that happens. It just works better in orthogonal, but I don't like how it looks. So that's my dilemma. I might try to see that a little bit. I got super sidetracked here. I think I was going to show you the tree shader. Yeah, let's do that before I try to mess with the camera too much. So I'm going to jump to Blender, and I want to show you what this looks like because I had some fun making this. But this is a log thing I'm working on. There's the tree. So Blender doesn't have any animations or anything. What these are, and like I placed them manually, which is like maybe not the smartest thing in the world to do, but it's like here's the base mesh. I tried to make it as low poly as possible, but to still get that geometry. And I knew I was going to animate it with the shader, so I wanted like there to be mostly quads. It's not all quads. Like there's some triangles on here, but it's fine. So if I go to statistics, this thing is 400 triangles, which is not amazing, but it's not horrible. Like maybe I can decimate this a little bit more in some areas. Like maybe this edge can go away, but like I'm only going to save a couple of vertices here and there. But yeah, so all of these are instanced. So like Godot, when you use an instanced mesh, that's a hard word to say. It does smart things. Like you'll notice, like look at the vertex data on all these. They're all leaf, right? So the cool thing is in Godot, when you import this, let's go to tree, like the draw calls, I'm only making 3 draw calls. I'm not actually setting up a draw call for each of these objects because they're using the same mesh data, right? So that's kind of neat. The other thing is that I have a script that loads, like when it loads on the very first pass. I don't need this. I don't need that. Like when it loads the first time, all I'm doing is I'm grabbing the first leaf here, so leaf 01, grabbing the mesh, and then setting the surface material, right? So overriding it with this tree material. I'll show you this in a second. The cool thing is, like, let me do this. If I did, I don't know, let's do this just to show you what's going on here. It's kind of cool. Let's do null, so let's clear it basically. And because this is a tool script, I can reload this in the editor, and it will update. Okay, that's fun. Oh, I guess it's, yeah, because now it's trying to set a shader parameter on something that doesn't exist, but just ignore this for a moment. You see how it changed everything, all the leaves, because they're instanced meshes, the material that's associated with the mesh, you just have to change it once, and it changes it for everything. My thing is really lagging right now, so I'm going to set this back. So let's do this, and then reload. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Like you set the material on one mesh and then it sets it on all of them, which is pretty awesome. So if I go back here, let's just clear that out, and I'll show you this this tree mat as well. Yeah, so if I go down to tree and then tree mat, you can see it over here. So this is the shader material. I set up a custom shader for this. What is happening? I don't know why this is not. Whatever. So like, it's not really showing me the shade. Oh, it is showing me the shader. Okay, yeah. So here's the shader, and if I go here, it's right here. So I did this like simple animation thing, which is pretty cool. It's got some parameters, strength and speed. I don't think I can control them from here because of some things I did with this. I can't remember. This is a tool script, so it's gonna try to do this. So yeah, let's just do this. Like if I set the wind speed here, see how it kind of like it moves faster? That's kind of cool. I like that. My plan is to like vary it kind of randomly as time progresses in the game. And then the other one you can mess with is wind strength, which like makes it go further. But this one also makes the animation more wonky. So it's like that one you kind of need to be a little careful with. I think it can really it'll really distort the mesh after a certain point. So that one you kind of need to, I don't know, just use with caution. But yeah, so like what is it actually doing here? So this material, it gets applied to the mesh. And because of instancing, it's applied to all the leaf objects. And am I using this random function? I don't think so. I can probably clear this. So I'm going to get rid of this. This is just like a random function that I Googled. I don't think we need that. It wasn't really working for me anyways. So let's clear some of this stuff. And I don't need the light. So what I'm doing here, which is kind of cool, is I'm getting like the coordinates of the leaf, and maybe the easiest way to show this is in Blender, and I'm normalizing them. Okay, so if I go to Blender and we look at the leaf itself and go to tab, let me switch to this mode. Let's do top down. So the origin point is over here, right? And the x-axis goes to the right. If I click on one of these vertices, hit N, you'll see the x is like 0.16, and then this one over here is actually the highest x value, which is 4.7. So I'm normalizing this. I'm doing like, I'm subtracting off. Okay, this is not quite right. This is supposed to be like probably 0.16, whatever. It doesn't really make a difference. And then I'm dividing by the whole length, which is like 4.2. Okay. So I don't know. I kind of fudge these numbers until they look good. But the idea is that you have the x coordinate of each vertex, scaled, right? So it's like, this one would be 0, this one would be 1, and maybe this one is like 0.5. Now, the reason for this is I can do a sine function to, make them wave around, and then all I have to do is multiply by that normalized x vertex, and like the portion of the mesh that's closer to the branch at the bottom moves the least, and as you move further away, you get more motion. Like, it's not a perfect algorithm, but it's a nice little effect. And especially from a distance, it's like a very nice, pleasing kind of animation. So I'll show you like, if I remove the dot product here, let's do that. So like what happens if I remove this chunk? They all move with exactly the same phase in the sine function, and that doesn't look good. Like, it's obvious that they're all moving exactly the same way. So this is kind of a clever way to get around that I just kind of figured out. What I'm doing, so like sine function, right? So this is like your frequency portion, right? And I have a speed, and that's where the wind speed comes in. And then I'm subtracting off, I'm taking the dot product of the node position world, which is going to be like the object origin point for each of these things, each of these leaves, and then just dot producting it with 1, 1, 1. So this effectively adds your X, Y, and Z position, which like the reason for it is like, think about it this way, like each leaf has a unique XYZ position. So I'm feeding that in as like the phase offset for each one of the animation like sine functions. So like kind of gives the illusion that they are moving randomly-ish, right? In an ideal world, I'd like to have like a wind direction, but I haven't got there yet. Right now, I'm just modifying the vertex Y, which is like allowing it to sway back and forth. And remember, so like in Blender, the Z-axis is up, but in Godot, the Y-axis is up. So like I'm looking at the X to figure out like what percentage of the branch we're on. So like the root is 0 and then the tip is 1. And then I'm just like modulating that based on that X-axis and then like manipulating the vertical component. So it's nothing too complicated. And then just for like a nice little fall-y kind of effect, I'm passing this normalized component to the fragment shader, and then I have a little gap there. Maybe I'll fix that. Yeah, let me fix that now. So, and so that like gives a little color gradient, which is kind of cool. But if I'm to actually do this here, so the material in Blender is like, it's basic. You're not getting anything special here. Now I have to find this branch that's floating. There it is. So I just move this a little and then maybe pull it out a bit. And, there's another one here. So there's lots of these things that needs to be cleaned up. That looks good, or better at least. And what I can do is I just export it, right? So I have the tree import here, but it's just editable. I didn't hit make local, and I'm not using my add-on on this because this is very custom. I would say this is even outside the scope of what my add-on can do because of the special nature of the instancing and the animation. So, now that I think about it, it's not impossible. Maybe no, it would be a mess because what my add-on would try to do a surface material override, and what I'm actually doing is I'm modifying the mesh material directly. So, yeah, that's fine. So then I'll just go to File Export and Godot 4, and then I got to find the folder. So this is the annoying part of doing this every time. Trio 1, and then I'll hit Trio 1 here. So if I export this, should come into the engine. There we go. So upon import, you'll see like you just get the static, right? So this is the default material that's on all the leaves. So, I mean, sure, that might look fine, but it's static. So all I have to do, because it's a tool script, let me go to my output. I want to make sure I'm not blowing up the editor here. Couldn't find file. I think that's just an import nonsense thing. So if I go scene, reload scene, there you go. So like that's how the script works, right? Like as soon as it's loaded, you change that material and then boom, you get all your leaves, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, that's how that works. And like it's pretty easy to iterate and design this. Had a lot of fun doing that actually. Maybe we'll talk about the beaver in a bit, but I want to get back to this camera thing. So that's the tree. That's kind of cool. There's lots of magic happening with like collision shapes and area 3Ds. One thing I will say, maybe this is a cool thing to talk about. I'm going to switch the camera back to orthogonal for a second, and we'll jump in here. So like when you're swimming, one of the big issues I have is like, obviously he's walking on the ground here, which has a tri-mesh collision. What's happening here is that like the riverbed dips down underneath, and now technically he's floating, right? He's not touching the tri-mesh anymore. But what I needed an area 3D to determine like, is he in the water? Is he not in the water? And what you'll find is that convex collisions, right? They don't work well for doing that. You're going to get the area entered and the area exited signal like really frequently. So I did use my add-on for this portion. It was like super easy. I'll show you that. But basically what happens is there's like a giant box collision shape that's attached to this area. And it's kind of level with the surface of the water, roughly. So like as soon as the beaver passes into the water, you enter that collision shape. And because it's a concave shape, right, it has depth. And like the physics engine knows really precisely whether you're in the water or not in the water. So that's one little glitch I had, which you might find useful. But yeah, let me show you that. So the water here, yeah, this guy. It has the static body, right? So this comes from my add-on. It's just like the tri-mesh collision, super simple thing. But then it adds this collision shape, which is a box collision. Let me hide everything else. So if I hide this and the terrain, maybe you'll see like there's the water. It's just a plane. But the area 3D that's used to detect that you're in the water, it actually has depth, right? So the algorithm then becomes super simple because when the beaver passes into the, into the water, like you enter it and you kind of dive into it. So that worked really well in code. Let's show you that. It's really just on area entered, on area exited. So the beaver, let's jump over here. He has like collision shapes that he uses for actual, physics collisions, but then the area 3Ds are used to like detect when he's in a region, but not necessarily like bumping up against it. So I do a couple other things with the tree areas and whatnot, because like there's some interesting problems you get into, but this works super well for swimming. So like literally if you enter the area name, that's water area 3D, right? It's the area associated with the water, which is that guy. Then you're swimming. As soon as you leave the area, you're not swimming. So like it's really as simple as that, and it seems to work really well. So that was kind of a nice thing. And now I don't have any meshes showing. That's funny. But that works. It works really well, right? Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk about everything. Like some of the animations on the beavers are cool. I might not get into that too much right now. But what I want to do is I want to try to like investigate this camera and maybe what I can do, because like once again it's like the water shader is so cool and that orthographic camera just does not show it off whatsoever. So let me try to fix that. One idea I guess I have is if I take my camera, and there's like a bit of a weird algorithm too, like don't really know how to deal with this, but it's not truly parented to the character player, right? Like when a camera is parented, it's going to follow the player around when they rotate through the game. I don't want that. I actually want a top-down view where your orientation is fixed in the space. Just it makes the point and click thing better. And then like it's kind of cool too. Like you see more of the beaver animation. You see all of his cute little tail wiggles and stuff like that, which I very much want the player to see. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to do this, because let's just jump back in for a sec. Like right now it's like it works, it's all reasonably functional, but it's just not, the water is just not, it looks basic. It looks just like an alpha plane. And if I did it this way, I probably should remove that complicated shader and just replace it with a plane with a blue color and an alpha value up for blending. But I want to see what I can do here. So let's try to change this to perspective. And another thing I want to do, it's like, how can I change the depth easily? It looks like H offset and V offset are fine. Like that works great. But how can I change the depth? Like really need to change the position? Probably. Another thing I could try to do is just tilt it down further. Let's try that. So if I tilt it down to like 45, it kind of looks like you're basically back to an orthogonal camera when you point it down like this. With the problem now that everything at the top of the screen is much further away. So that doesn't really buy me much. I do like how it looks. Let's see. Let's go back to negative 30 degrees and we'll see. Yeah, like this shows off the water. And I guess like fundamentally what's happening is because of the point of view, like you're getting more of these, surface level kind of reflections on the water, which you don't get with the orthogonal camera. So I definitely need to do some more tinkering here. I'm not really sure how I'm going to deal with it. And I can't do zoom. I got to figure that out. So yeah, I mean, if you're watching this and you have any thoughts, let me know. I'm kind of stuck on this one. So I'm probably just going to revert this to orthogonal and leave that where it is for now. The other thing I wanted to work on is I wanted to develop some logs. So I was kind of halfway through this process when I started the devlog, or just before I started. So my plan here is to like just grab a shape, and I'm going to need a collision on it, so I probably will use my add-on for this. But first I need to fix this texture because this looks bad. I unwrapped it and maybe actually want to smart project instead. Let's try this. That looks a little better. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be tough because I'm trying to really get the bark texture on here to look good, but I don't know if these lines are going to match up. Let's try cube project maybe. Does that work any better? Maybe this is the way to go, and what I'll do is I'll reorient the faces. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So I kind of want roughly like that scale, and then these I need to rotate. So I'll do R90. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And then what else? Probably this side. R90. Okay, cool. The ends, gosh, what the heck does the end of a... that's not going to be right. It needs to be rings. So I almost need... Oh, this is going to mess up my texture because I wanted to do a scaled texture. I need like... Oh, I know what I need. Maybe I can do something. So let's look at this texture. So I'm going to go to my game and then textures and then bark. I'm going to make a copy. And let's say bark with rings. I want to try to do something in GIMP to try to like finagle this. I think I could place like a circular piece somewhere on the texture. We'll try this. We'll concept this. And, well, I guess, what does my geometry look like? So I guess the problem is I have this shape. That's roughly the shape I need to match. Sometimes I do this thing, which is like maybe not the smartest way to do it, but I'll grab this and then come into GIMP, make a new layer, paste that, and then I'll kind of mark it out, right? So I'll just use the lasso select and then just grab this because I need this shape basically. And I'll delete that and then maybe paint it something. I don't know. I'm kind of just going with this here. That didn't work. There we go. And then select invert and then delete everything else. So that's my little region that I need to determine what I'm going to do with. Maybe let's make a new layer. Basically, I just need a way to get the rings on here. So let's see. I might actually find a texture that kind of matches. So I'll magic select this. Nope, that didn't work. And then this, and then let's go here. No, that's not going to do anything. Let's find a texture. Let's find a CCO texture. So let's go to here, and we'll look up CCO tree ring texture. See what we find. CG bookcase tree stump. All right. I don't need all this metal stuff. Where's the... I do like all the stuff that I like get that's CCO or free. I do, grab all the links to it. I'll show you how I do that in a sec. Where is the license? I've never used this one before. I like it when the license is shown like right here. So I know that I'm doing good things. Learn section. Let's see what this says. I just want to see your license. Where is it? About Interesting. Okay, just based on the fact that I don't see a CCO license, I'm hesitant here. Let's see what else we got. Let's do raw pixel. I've used those before. I have an account here. I need free, and I need it to be CCO. So let's do free, and maybe we'll grab this one. And royalty free. Okay, so that one's royalty free, which is cool. And I'm just going to grab this. What I do for my textures is I have this running list of all the licenses that I've grabbed, and I just save it in that file. That's all. So let's download this. So let's grab, I only need small. I don't need anything big at all. So let's download that. Oh no. Okay, 9 out of 10 downloads remaining today. Am I going to run out at some point? Probably. So there it is. Oh, it even has alpha. That's kind of nice. Let me grab this. And let's just drop it in here. So I'll call this rings. And I'm going to do this. I think Paint supports alpha now in Windows 11, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it does. Wow. Okay. I'm learning things. Let's scale this down and I will move it. And I think, I'm trying to think about this. Does it need to be smaller? It needs to be smaller than the cutout, roughly. I don't know. We'll play with this idea. This could look really weird. We're going to see what's going to happen. Because it's a repeated texture, it might look super, super weird, but we'll see. I'm thinking there may be a way to fix it. Because... yeah, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I don't think that bark edge is helping me here, so I'm going to cut that out. So let's go right inside the white part here. So I'll just cut that and then paste it. Oops, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, merge that down first and then delete it. Okay, so here's my thing. I'm trying to decide if it needs to be bigger. You know what? I can remap it after. That's fine. Yeah. I can remap it however I want. As long as it's roughly in this shape, I might skew it a little bit. Let's see. So if we go... it's one of these things that like warps it. No... perspective. Yeah, sometimes that works really well. Yeah. You can kind of like stretch it out, right? Get it to sort of match as closely as I can. Yeah, so let's go with this. Let's do that. And then I'm going to kill this black layer. And then that's probably huge. But we'll see because I am scaling it. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to make it cartoony. So I've been using the watercolor thing. Oops. I'm going back too far. And let's hide that. So yeah, let me try this. So we'll go new. And I want to grab this. Oh, GIMP. It's so fun to work with. Okay, so if I go filters, artistic, water pixels. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. Let's make this a lot smaller, though. I hate this interface. Let's do 10. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, I love that, actually. Let's increase the smoothness, maybe. Let's try 2. Nope. 1. Actually, yeah, less smoothness is better. Yeah, let's do 0.5. I don't know what this does. Nope, we're not doing that. And then we'll just do okay. And then I'll bring this back. I hate how it makes everything gray in the background, though. I don't know why it does that. When I do that little script, and let's make this a new layer and hide this one. Okay, so there's my little thing. Let's try to export this. This could look super weird, but we'll see what it looks like in Blender. I'm just kind of rolling with this right now. So that's the rest of it. And I'm cube projecting it, so it's kind of like, super stretched. Let me open The bark with rings. Oops, that's not right. Bark with rings. There we go. Yeah, this might look super weird. I might have to make that super small. Let's see. Where did my thing go? Yep, that looks funny. I can probably make it smaller and maybe get away with it. I'd love this to be on one texture. Let me try one more thing. Let's do scale. Oh, no, I want to lock the perspective. Scale that down. I'm going to duplicate this layer because I don't want to lose it. Let's scale that way down. The problem is that like there's not enough irregularity in how it's projected. How do you reload? It's like Alt-R or something. There you go. Oh, yeah. That's kind of more noticeable. I might be able to blend it better. We'll see. So let's go back to UV editing. What I need to do is I need to scale this way the heck down and then put it on the rings here. Right? So that is okay. Maybe. Yeah, I'd love to do this differently, honestly. Can I steal like a portion of the texture and just... Oh, you know what maybe I can do? I can shift all of these. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Okay, let's fix this. So I'm not using the texture space like super efficiently, which is fine. Oh, I hate going back and forth between Blender and GIMP. All the shortcuts change. So let me think. What just happened? Okay, somehow I undid my... That's fine. Probably what I want to do here, I might try to make this stand out a little bit more as well. Let's go back here. Might do filters, artistic. Let's see if we can do cartoon. Ooh. I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Make that a little bit more. Make it pop a little. Copy this and then bring it in again. New layer. What's happening? Why is it not showing up? Oh, okay. Cool. And what my idea is here is like if I stick this in the corner and scale it down, there might be a way for me to like get around it basically. Let's see. So if I scale it down to maybe there, scale, move. Yeah, let's try this. So let's do export and we'll do Alt-R. So now I just need to do some... Oh, no, because it's repeated, it's not going to help us. Okay. New approach. Need a new approach. I may need to repeat it. Yeah. So let's cube project with the size of 1. Oh, I need to fix these again. That's okay. R90. R90. Okay. So this is the actual texture size. Now I could probably... no, not quite. It would need to all be within the texture. Like it would need to be like this. And then it's like a really inefficient use of space. But let me try it. We'll see if we can make this work. It's kind of low res anyways. It's not like super high detail. So I think I'm okay with trying to repeat this. I don't know how to do that in GIMP. Maybe I'm going to learn. But yeah, effectively what I need to do... Let's see what else we can do here. I'm using the space a little better now because I'm actually using it as a quote texture. Maybe what I should be doing is... Let's do all these. I should basically consider the top area just for the rings, I guess. So we scale that down, move these here, and smoosh all these together. Let's see what we get. Ideally, I'd love for this to be like them to be perfectly adjacent. Like I don't know why these are a little. I guess it's trying to wrap to the mesh or whatever. I'm just gonna move. I'm gonna fix this because I want them to be packed pretty tightly. and we'll see if we can fix the scaling on the actual texture after. Oops. Oh, no, shit. Okay, so they're all in there now. My problem is that the texture is huge. And even this actually I need to fix. These guys need to be inside. They can't be outside at all. Like that. There we go. Better. Okay, getting there. And shade auto smooth. Oh, nice. Okay, we're getting there. So the last thing I need to do is I need to figure out how to stretch this, which I really have no idea how to do. Can I just do something stupid like scale it here? I kind of need to take a copy. No, it's okay. I have layers. Let's do... Yeah, because if I scale it down, I need to like repeat it. How to tile. Oh, shit. I need to learn how to tile. I'm going to pause the stream and learn how to do this and then maybe come back and show what I did. Okay, so I'm back. I realized I was being really dumb because I have the Simple Bake add-on. So all I have to do here is use like multiple material slots and then it can bake them for me. So I'm going to just walk this back and show you how it works just for posterity. And yeah, I'm not doing any crazy complicated GIMP stuff today. So let's just delete this. Oops, nope. Delete hierarchy. And I'm like very OCD about my Blender files. So I usually come in here to the Blender files and I usually delete the other stuff that's not used. So that, and then baked, so get rid of that. That should be okay. Now, what I should do while I'm here and I'm saying I'm OCD is I should clean up my mesh names. This guy is a log. The log mesh in the log object in the log collection. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So what's happening here? So what did I do? I took a step back and I realized I was overthinking it a lot. I have two things happening here. Basically, I have this bark with rings texture, right? And then I have the rings. All I needed to do to make this work, come into UV edit, you need to make sure that you have non-overlapping UVs. If you have non-overlapping UVs, and actually this one is a little bit outside, let's fix that. So when you have non-overlapping UVs, you can use multiple material slots and you can bake them down to a single material target. How you do this in vanilla Blender, I will be honest with you, I don't know. Baking with Blender vanilla is tough. I'm not going to lie to you. So I do have the Simple Bake add-on, so it's easier. But basically all I did, right, is I have my object, and then I have tree rings, which is a new material, and tree. So how can we do this? Let's hit select. Yeah, so if I hit select here, you can see now this material slot 2 is using just the rings, and if I select material slot 1, you'll see it's the rest of it. So how does it work in Simple Bake? I will show you. So if you come up here and you go down to Simple Bake, and I'm just going to remove this. Like normally this would be nothing in it, but you click the object, you go add, and then I'll show you all the settings I use. Right now I'm just baking diffuse or albedo. I'm keeping the texturing and the material super simple for this game because I just can't spend forever trying to get a normal to look correct. Don't need anything for special bakes. I'm just doing 1K, which seems to be fine. Yeah, all these settings, clear existing images. I do always export. I like exporting just so I have the separate file, so it's not just buried in the Blender file. And then what else do I do? UV settings, this is all default. And I always copy and apply bakes and then hide the source object. That usually works really well. So yeah, let's go ahead and bake it. It's pretty fast. And the other cool thing that it does is my textures were not in a square resolution, right? So they weren't, 1024 by 1024 or whatever. So Simple Bake just fixes that for me. So That's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing. So what I'm going to do next is probably get this into the engine just so I can start to play with it and use it. I'm going to export it separately from the other stuff. So let's try that. So I do want to use my add-on here just because I can make this collision shape really, really easily. Let's rotate this vertical first so that the cylinder collision will work. Right, so let's do that. And then what else can we do? So I need to actually install the add-on. So I never actually install the add-on from the actual add-on myself, like the zip file. Reason being is that if I catch any bugs while I'm using my add-on, I can fix them right on the spot. So yeah, so I just, I have the Python file directly here. So let's load that up, run it, and then we have this guy. Okay, so there's no special materials, but I am going to throw a cylinder collision, and it needs to be a rigid body. So let's do that and hit set. Oh, no, I don't want a margin. I want it to be tight because these are the things that you're going to be building little dams with. Okay, so I'm going to clear some of this stuff because I don't want it. I am working on a feature. Like right now, the best way to do this is like clear custom data first. And then hit apply. So that way you'll get a like fresh, set of custom properties. All right, let's give this a shot. We're going to export this. I'm probably going to make a new asset. So we'll just call this new folder log01. Cool. And we'll call this log01.gltf. I always put the 01 in whatever after my files because it makes PowerSave work super easy. It already gives you like the first instance that you can like PowerSave. PowerSave's free, by the way. Go get this add-on. It's really good. And when you get used to using it, it'll actually make you better at Blender because you're not going to be so afraid to make mistakes because you can always go back. So, all right, so that is good. I'm just going to export and then let's hop into Godot if I can find it. Yeah, over here. All right, so we get another asset, a log here. And what I need to do is I just need to connect it to my import script. I would love for a way to automate this, but so far, don't know how. That's fine. So I will just drop this right into our main scene here and pull it up. Ooh, and we get a sweet, sweet nothing. What's happening? So remember what I said about how I need to use my add-on in the raw format so I can fix stuff? Yeah, well, that's happening right now. I implemented a feature forever ago that prevented objects from SimpleBake from being imported because I thought it was a good idea. And I thought a lot of things, but that's not what we want right now. So I'm going to comment this out. And when I get time, I will update that. It's probably not going to affect anyone but me, but yeah, the more you know. So if I try to import this one more time, we do tree. I'm going to drop this in here. That's the tree. That's not what I want. I want the log. And it still doesn't work because I actually need to re-import it. I need to rerun the import script. And okay, that's interesting. And I drop it in here and yay, we get a log. Okay, good. Finally, this works. So I have a log with a cylinder shape that is not in the right orientation. This is because my object orientation is wrong in Blender. So let's fix that. So this guy, yeah, it has a rotation on it. So what you need to do, definitely before you try to do cylinder collisions, you need to apply rotation and scale. Cylinders basically have to be upright. Like the shape needs to be upright for it to calculate correctly. And then you can manipulate it in Godot after. But yeah, so let's try this again. I don't know why it keeps kicking me out there. That's fine. We'll delete the old one. What do we got? So, oh, I need to reset the collision. Now, okay, another thing. We're learning things. After you reapply the scale, you have to set the collision again. It's not going to dynamically update. It could if I were smarter, but it doesn't. So let's export this one more time. Delete the old one. And there you go. Okay, so we finally have a little log with a cylinder collision. So let's do a little test. I'm going to drag it like closer to Beaver. I somehow lost my tree in that process, but that's okay. We'll get it back. And see if it falls. Let's do a little bit of rotation. Okay, how about that? I don't know why it randomly snaps. Like, if anyone can explain this to me, I'm really struggling with Godot. Yeah, now it's not snapping. All I have to do is zoom. That's fun. What happened there? Sometimes this happens. Oh yeah, it's not made local. You have to make it local. The mesh kind of gets left behind if you don't do that. Yeah. Oh, cool. And now it's rolling. That's fun. That's pretty fun, actually. So the idea is I want to spawn these things and have them drop around the map. And yeah, the idea is... Okay, that's too funny. The idea is that like when Beaver runs into the log, he'll be able to like a little highlight will come around it. I got to figure out how to do that, and then he'll be able to like pick them up and move them around and create little beaver dams. So yeah, that will probably be in the next devlog. I'm gonna cut this one off here, but yeah, thanks for tuning in.